You know, I think this is going to be a really short ShitFlix review.
Yeah, all we have are dubbing jokes.
Yeah, I hope we don't blow our whole load on one big joke at the beginning.
Shit!
Well, I guess that's that. Today, watched a movie. We watched Man with a Severed Head. That was it.
No. No, it was called Crimson, the Color of Blood.
No, it's Crimson, the Color of Terror.
No. It's just Crimson.
Yeah, it's just Crimson. It's got a lot of titles.
It's a Spanish giallo film. How does that work? Giallo is an Italian cinema. Now, we looked this up, and the original spoken language of this was Spanish, right?
Yes.
Well, actually, you know what? Considering how boring parts of this movie was, I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't an Italian giallo, because at least they keep you entertained.
Okay, well, I guess let's...
Or at least Mario Bava does.
Real quick. Movie. It is a... Okay.
We watched Crimson.
Yeah, Crimson. That's official title. That's what we're going by here.
That's the one that's on Netflix.
Here's the plot that Netflix gives. A group of jewel thieves have to get their worst enemy's brain in order to transplant it with their boss to save him from dying. Something along those lines. That describes the first half of the movie. Not even
first. Like the first act.
Yeah. The rest of the movie is based off of that first act.
And there are so many subplots.
So many subplots.
That go nowhere.
Well,
some of them. They go somewhere. They die.
They go somewhere to die.
They go somewhere to die. That's it. And that's the ending of their story arcs.
That is. Okay, so...
And especially some characters that have a lot of build-up and all of a sudden get killed. I'm like, wow, that character was absolutely useless.
Let's start with that. Let's start with the characters. Okay, so there are 3 sides to this story, not counting the police. 3 sides to this story. There is the jewel thieves, who I guess are the main focus of the story.
I suppose they're the protagonists.
There are the doctor and his family.
Well, the professor. And the doctor.
Oh, is he technically called professor? He's a brain surgeon. I just figured
yeah, someone who does not have hands or they don't work.
Yeah,
or
something
like that.
accident. It was really brushed under the carpet.
Yeah, they didn't really care to explain.
And then there is the sadist side, which is the worst enemies of...
They're the antagonists, I guess.
Kind of.
But we follow them. But we follow them for over half the movie.
Yeah.
And it's really confusing. I have absolutely I didn't care for any of these characters. Now, if you watch giallo films, they're all really sleazy characters, and you're not supposed to necessarily like any of them. But I didn't even like to hate any of these characters. They were just bland.
Yeah. I think... Okay, well, let's start with the jewel thieves in particular, because we got the most time with them.
Barely.
One of them was named Carl. One of them was named Paul. There was Sinette, who was the leader, who was shot.
It always sounded like they were saying Surnet.
Surnet, maybe it was.
Too
we never saw it in writing.
It's Surnet!
Surnet. And then there was...
Is Sir Butterfly Net as well?
Who was the last guy? Who was the guy that was the main...
I actually don't remember. I don't know the names.
He was the main driving force of the jewel thieves, and we have no idea what his name was.
He wasn't even last to die either.
No, he just was driving. No, he was passenger seat.
He was second to last to die. Well, he was getting shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, or at least... I think that's what was happening. They were doing it all through jump cuts.
Yeah. Were any of the jewel thieves memorable?
Speaking of the editing in this movie...
Hold on, let's do the characters.
Well, they are involved with the characters, because the characters like to jump around mysteriously. I think the entirety of the cast slipped the editor money whenever they wanted to get somewhere that they couldn't physically get to.
I always thought it was a superhero film, where people could just teleport around. Except for the police. No, the police teleported too.
Yeah,
Never
I mean,
mind.
oh god, they went back into time as well.
Oh.
I guess I've been making these jokes all day, but like seriously, I guess that I guess the police car is the TARDIS.
Yeah.
But all right,
Back to the characters. Were the Jewel Thieves even memorable at all? Any of the Jewel Thieves?
Just because Sinet, because he had the sadist brain like transplanted into his head to save his life, because he gets shot in the head in the very beginning of the movie.
Okay, hold on. Give me just 1 minute to try to explain as much as I can about this, and then we can get right back into the review, okay?
Okay.
Because they need something here. We're not giving them jack shit. Alright, 1 minute starting now. Okay, so they are stealing jewels, and then the heist goes bad because this one guy took some jewels that he wasn't supposed to, and then they get into a chase with the cops, and the cops end up shooting Sinet, who's the leader of the Jewel Thieves gang, in the head. And so they go to this doctor guy, and the doctor can't help him, so they go to this brain surgeon guy, who apparently can help him, but they need a donor to give a brain. So they find out a match is in the worst enemy of the gang, which his name is the Sadist. So they end up tricking into killing the Sadist, but he's the Sadist, mind you. He's scary. So they kill the Sadist.
His brain looks scarier than him.
And they get his brain, and then once they put it in him, he starts going through some weird... Sinet starts going through some weird mental stuff, like his personality changes, like the Sadist was.
He becomes a rapist.
And then everybody else is all trying to figure out what happened to the Sadist and all that other stuff, and then it just ends up going a bit weird. And time.
Exactly 1 minute. You guys can check if you want. But the truth, and that's exactly it. I mean, that story, even as ridiculous as it happens to be, can be straightforward enough, but they don't make it that way. They make all these little subplots about revenge and all sorts of crap. Like, there's this one female character, I don't remember her name at all.
Barbara or Ingrid?
Yeah, I still have no idea. But, she's trying to go and find Sinet to try to kill him because of revenge and whatnot. And, she gets toward the end, she's like, I should have killed you when I had the chance. I'm like, then why saying it? Just do it. Then he gets the upper hand on her and rapes her to the most touching love music I have ever heard in a giallo film. Yeah, the music in this thing is so ill-placed.
It is terrible.
From the opening credits, we can tell this.
Alright, hold on. Really quick. Show a shot of the opening credits, like the background picture. Okay? You see that?
I seriously actually think that was the original, because most of the giallo films are based off of books, so that probably actually is the original book jacket.
Maybe.
If this was based off a book, I don't know.
You got the blood, you got the
severed
crazy
head.
Doctor in the background.
Which the crazy doctor thing and whatnot, that doesn't actually happen in the movie.
Now, all of that stuff is set to just the most upbeat little peppy tune.
You think our closing music is really upbeat and whatnot for this damn show? It's pretty much on par.
Oh, no, it's exactly on par. And this is the opening to what we thought is going to be somewhat of a horror / just gory film.
That picture alone justifies that, doesn't it?
The name is Crimson, the color of blood, or Crimson, whatever.
Whatever, one way or another, it's supposed to be a horror-style film.
Nothing was terrifying.
Nothing was even remotely scary.
Damn thing. There's at one point where they're trying to chop the head off of the Sadist. And for some reason they open it up and they start with the knife and they're like, oh, we can't do that. So then they close it and then they take him to train tracks, lay him on the train tracks, let the train come, and just plop his head right off. And you think there's some horror, like, no, it's just like, hey, well, isn't that interesting?
Well, that's another thing, too.
Oh, no.
When it comes down to the dubbing...
Oh, yeah,
because we made the joke.
We made the joke.
When it comes down to the dubbing, and if you really watch this movie with a keen enough eye that, you're looking at the lips being, moving from the actors, you can definitely tell that, A, the dub actors don't give two shits about this movie.
Not at all.
and B, that the people acting on screen actually, maybe not necessarily gave two shits, but at least gave one.
Yeah.
And
like, the way you put it was the last remnants of, like, stage acting.
it was very mannerist. It was very, very over the top.
There was one particular shot, like, I think it was just as he said it that I noticed it. Nobody had their backs turned. Even if they're all talking to it, they were all facing the camera. It was like, okay.
Yeah, everyone...
They're stage actors.
Everyone cheats out. Make sure you're standing with proper form. And... I mean, like, to be honest, there are a handful of giallo films in which that happens to work. As I already quoted, like, Mario Bava is basically the one who created... Now, obviously, this film can't necessarily be considered a giallo film. It's set up exactly like one, where it's surrounding a mystery. They're trying to figure out the mystery. Everyone's extremely sleazy, so you don't necessarily care if any one of these people die. And then when they find out the mystery, it actually has no major place in the overall story that's taking place at that moment. Like,
from what I gather, I'm not a film guy, so I don't know. But from what I gather, a giallo film is kind of just building up your expectations and then subverting.
I mean, like, it does that a lot, too, and every character is designed that way. I mean, I love giallo films. Dario Argento and Mario Bava, like, they're the ones who brought it to the screen and made it really... visceral, like the Bird with the Crystal Plumage is a really great giallo film, and this one is seriously, I can't say that it gives a bad name to giallo films because there are more bad giallo films than there are good ones.
Some people, I think, would almost think giallo films are just an excuse to just make the worst type of character.
It's just the sleaze. It's just such a sleazy movie, and it's just a sleazy movie to make sleaze. I mean, and I love giallo films. I love that they're a big influence on me, interestingly enough. But at the same time, it just doesn't work here because it doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a sci-fi film?
When it came to the brain,
does it want a heist film and whatnot? This isn't the blood of ghastly terror here.
Right. So when it opened up with the heist, literally the heist, it seemed like it was going to be sort of a heist film. Like they were going to keep on doing the dual things. But since we read the Netflix short little thing, we knew at some point there had to be a brain transplant going on.
Wish you could find a way to work in, I suppose, but
the brain transplant...
They threw it in so fast.
The brain transplant happened, like, that fast. They shot the guy, they got his body, they got his head, boom, brain transplanted.
And then the rest of the movie, the guy's sitting in bed and going crazy.
It's just like, I
had horrible dreams last night.
I had horrible dreams. I'm not the man I was.
My eyeballs hurt. Something like that.
It's just... And you know what's going to happen. I mean, it's a brain transplant. Obviously, got some personalities from the guy he got the brain from. It's very obvious on the long path it takes to finally show up.
It's also freaking logic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you actually were able to manifest an actual brain transplant, some aspects are going to get carried over. Yeah. It's like borrowing a hard drive.
All right. So, really... The most we can say about it is the dubbing. I mean, the editing.
The cinematography fucking sucks.
The cinematography,
especially those really... Now, this is very common in the movies of this type, but like those zooms in.
Oh, yeah.
Now, like, in movies like, Django Unchained, where they're like homaging those types of old films, it really works. It's a parody. This is a movie of that era. So they use it as an actual technique to increase tension, and it blows.
It wasn't self-aware.
No.
It was doing it because it actually thought it was good.
And it did it unnecessarily at points, too. Like, there was 3 guys walking toward a fence one time, and they was fine with the 3-shot, and all of a sudden they just went in rapidly on one person and then have him walk away. And, like, it makes absolutely no sense for why they decided to do that. You just wasted film stock.
One thing that we kind of glanced over a little bit, you mentioned it slightly, but editing, the most jarring cuts.
Oh, yeah.
The most jarring cuts in the world. We knew it was going to happen right as the title card ended.
Yeah.
Because it didn't fade out. The music didn't even fade out.
Yeah. It just jumped right into the movie. It's like, and film.
So, yeah, it definitely was interesting in that regard. And one thing I wanted to mention, you didn't seem to care so much it really got to me. There was a scene where there was a stage play going on. Yeah. There was a stage play going on, and it's where you first meet the sadist and his gang, and they're watching this stage play go on. The stage play is weird within itself, but there's probably some backstory that I'm missing to it, like what the play is actually supposed to be.
Probably. I mean, I'm not sure.
Right, but the entirety of it had all like the actors who were making noises, like little grunts and stuff like that. They had that too, but the entire audio track for the play was 10 seconds fast. So you heard a grunt. 10 seconds later, he would do the action that required a grunt. It's like, oh my, how do you mess up that badly?
The audio mixing is awful.
Oh my god. No, that's just it. It's an audio mix of a dub.
Falling. They're all falling noises. Like the entirety. I don't think any sound in this movie, except for like if they're shooting guns and no one's talking and whatnot.
And maybe not even that.
Yeah, like one of the most common things back in Italy, especially for giallo films, to get them exported to like the States and the rest of Europe, is and regardless of what language they shot it in on set, they dub everything in English and then they release it to the public. But again, if I remember if what we read was right, this is a Spanish film.
And there are some parts of
I don't know.
There are some parts in Europe that speak Spanish. We don't know the original country it was filmed in. Because there were several parts where they went to like strip bars and stuff like that. No smut. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and with giallo films, you expect some smut.
But they went to a strip bar, and one of the signs for the strip bar had, I forget what it was talking about, but it had the word AU. And I know AU is French. That's something. I am not good at French, but I know it's French. AU is definitely French, not Spanish. I took Spanish. So I don't know where they were.
And that's another thing, too. Like, they could speak whatever fucking language they want. That was one of the problems with Dario Argento's movies. That everyone would speak their own language on set, so no one would have a fucking clue what was being said.
And that's probably what happened here, more or less.
Because so many of the actors just look straight up confused when things are going on. I wonder if the crew spoke the same language as the actors.
I think the crew was all just the director.
Which would be even worse, too, because that's like Claudio Fragasso, and he made Troll 2. It was an entire Italian production crew, and him didn't speak a word of English, trying to direct these English actors. And that's why they said their lines really bad, but we'll get to Troll 2 some other time. But...
okay, so we got editing, we talked about the dubbing, we talked about, I guess... that's just about it. Final thoughts on it. Would you recommend, and what did you think?
I mean, to be honest, it's not a really harmful movie in any sense of the word. Meaning, like, you won't really lose anything by watching it, but at the same time, you won't gain a fucking thing either. It's just a bland movie that may have had an interesting premise, but... And actually, it wasn't even really... It was just such an outlandish premise that it was merited to watch. But from the very beginning of the movie, you can actually tell that either A, they have no idea what they're doing, or B, they didn't take anything seriously. And even especially when you make comedy, if this obviously is not going for comedy.
This is a comedy?
Yeah, this is definitely not going for comedy. But at the same time, if you were going for comedy on top of that, still... you have to approach it with an idea of seriousness, because that's what dramatic irony is. But having said that, no, I can't really say I recommend this movie whatsoever.
Okay.
You, David?
I think, I'm trying to approach a new philosophy here, seeing if it works out, that any film can help a struggling filmmaker, either showing them what to do or what not to do.
Exactly. I do agree with that.
So, I'd say, if you're a struggling filmmaker,
that just starts out.
This particular one, if you're a struggling filmmaker who lives in a non-English speaking country, this is a perfect example on how not to do dubbing. Do everything the opposite of this when it comes to dubbing.
If anything else, when it comes down to dubbing a film... Don't dub it into different languages. Just subtitle the shit.
Yeah. I mean, if some
because
people,
true cinephiles will watch the movie.
Will it get to the mass audience? Probably not. But at the same time, foreign films really don't get the mass audience even when they are dubbed.
Or at least in America.
At least in America.
In Europe, they have a bit more of a respect for that crap.
We're America.
We're America, yeah.
Alright, so would I recommend...
Crimson.
Recommend Crimson? No, I can't recommend Crimson. Usually I do recommend the bad films just to see how bad they are, but this one, you fell asleep in the middle. I had to pause the movie and wake him up.
Yeah, my bad.
It's whatever.
I mean,
He didn't miss it.
I didn't miss a fucking thing.
So yeah, I can't recommend it. And alright, so...
And it's not even that bad. I mean, it's bad, it's visibly bad, but at the same time, it's not, like, painfully bad.
No,
it's not Sandy Hook.
It's
not Taint Light. It's not movies that make you angry that you're watching it, that you have to take 5 breaks.
We took
one, and that was just because you had to wake me up.
Yeah, it's just because I had to wake you up. I'd say, if anything, it's an okay movie mixed with just a lot of incompetence.
Yeah, it's just a really incompetent, mediocre film.
Okay, and with that, we're going to skip an ending joke in lieu of a very important message that we need to give you. Matt?
As many of you might know, Netflix has decided to cut over 1,700 titles from its instant streaming queue. For internet reviewers like us, this is certain death.
It's true. Many films that we have wanted to get to, we've tried to get to for so long, but we just couldn't find the time. Well, now those films are gone, and we'll never get the chance to review them ever again. It's crushing, really.
And we implore you. We require titles to review. Seriously, we need to find these bad films on Netflix. We need help finding them because at the same time, the rating system for the new ones isn't at all being used. So actually, we don't know what these things are going to be like when they're first coming out. We need help. Use your imagination.
Use the Netflix search bar.
Yeah.
Just go ahead, find whatever bad movies you can. Whether you've seen it before, or you actually know the person who put it up.
Actually, if you know the person that put it up, I'd really like to know myself because we've been trying to get it.
Focus.
Oh, shit.
Focus. So, in the comments below, put any bad movies that you know are instant streaming on Netflix. And as long as it isn't really oversaturated in reviewer media, we'll do our best to get to it. Thank you for any time you put into it. That's it?
Yeah.
I could not give 2 shits about this. God fucking damn it. Where is my goddamn coffee?
Ha!
Old bad boys want some road, it's tricky.